I have some terrible news. The German game developer Piranha Bytes might be shutting down, or it has already shut down actually, because their website right now is only a logo. And according to Reddit, which I know is not a very credible source, but also according to the German magazine GameStar, I'm German for example, they are laying off their staff, and on top of that, the German government has been funding the development of Elex 3 under a different code name, which is called Wiki 6. That has been stopped. And on top of that, their publisher, which used to be the Embracer Group, this is a group or a company that acquired lost assets from died down publishers. For example, Joe Wood, who used to work together with Piranha Bytes, notably on the games Gothic 1, Gothic 2 and Gothic 3, where afterwards they split apart and Piranha Bytes followed their dream of making their own game alone, which they made Risen. And most of you will most likely be familiar with Risen rather than Gothic. If you are non-German. If you are German, you are most likely familiar with Gothic 1, 2 and even 3. Because this is a very popular game in Germany, Poland and Russia. However, since they made Risen, they have completed the series and then they went on and made another game which is called Elex. It is a more modernized setting as opposed to the more medieval time with, sword and shield, which I really like. So I wasn't that much into Elex, but that doesn't mean the game wasn't bad. The game was actually quite successful on Steam, which I think currently it has about 11,000 reviews, which, is not the best, but it's also not bad. However, the problem is that Elex 2 wasn't that successful. Piranha Bytes might be shutting down. Elex 3 may have been cancelled. I read the GameStar, I don't know about the English articles. So Elex may have been cancelled. So Elex 3, the developer of Elex 3 is Piranha Bytes, and those are the ones that made the original Gothic games, right? If any one of you have played Gothic 1 or 2, you will remember who Piranha Bytes is. And for me, those games are actually the reason why I'm making games right now. Especially the first game. I have played this game so many times that I fell in love with how the game functions and especially the atmosphere, yeah. This has been, in my opinion, one of the greatest games of all time. I'm a little bit in the way. And unfortunately, or we don't know yet, but for me it is unfortunately so far, a new developer is trying to make a remake of that game. And that's what it looks like at the moment. So it is very true to the original art now, but it wasn't back then. So when they, this image right here will properly tell you how it was when I saw it for the first time. This is the Gothic remake official game site. This was the original version, what they anticipate or how they wanted the game to look. And I don't know about you, but for me this looks trash. Not because the game looks bad per se, but because they failed to capture the original version of the game, which was dark. It was a prison. Everyone was shitting on you. And you got the impression that you are weak, and if you try to fight anyone, you will most likely lose. Which, exactly that's what was happening. And so they made such a bad review, or no. They made such a bad remake of the game, or teaser, that I got so sad about the fact that they were destroying such a great piece of my nostalgia and childhood that I started making games. That is literally the reason why I'm making games right now. And these are also the developers who are making Elex, which you might have heard is one of those recent games they made. And it seems like they are shutting down right now, or they are in financial trouble. At least that's what I've heard. The Port, a famous German games podcast with good connections to the industry, released a special episode confirming that Piranha Bytes is apparently on the verge of closure. Oh, so basically what they're saying here, because this is in German, they're literally saying, okay, so the Piranha Bytes studio that made Gothic, Risen and Elex, so one of those should be familiar to you if you're into RPG games. And the studio has been... Oh, wow. The person, Björn Pankratz, which is a German person, has been let go. He literally left the studio. This guy has been in charge ever since the very beginning of when they started making games. So Björn Pankratz already left the studio last year due to differences with the team. So this is nothing new, by the way. As far as I remember, when Gothic 1 first came out, they have been making the game for, I think it took them 4 years to make the game. And during this time, they had issues, especially towards the end, where most of the members of the studio did not want to finish Gothic 1 because there was so much work they still had to do. But Björn and a couple of other people told them to continue already because they really wanted to finish the game, which is very unfortunate because I think they made a very cool game with Gothic 1. The team wanted to make a new Gothic game, but Björn, oh man, why would you not want them to make a new Gothic game? They have the rights to this, you know? So what happened with Gothic? For those of you who don't know, they made the original Gothic 1, then they made the original Gothic 2, and then they paired together with, what is it, Deep Silver? Which one was the publisher of Gothic 3? Anyways, it might have been Joe Wood. It's been such a long time. So they made Gothic 1, Gothic 2, and then they started making Gothic 3, which I think took them 6 years to make. And they made the new engine. They made a new engine in C++. They tried a very, very, very big world, open world, like Skyrim. And they tried a different combat system. So basically they started from scratch and in C++. And that's when it all fell apart for them, because it might have been Joe Wood or Deep Silver, one of them. They wanted the game out, but the game wasn't ready. And so they pushed the game out completely buggy. It was laggy. And the game just didn't function at all. And it looked okay, but it didn't work. There were way too many bugs and they couldn't fix it. And Joe Wood pushed them into something they didn't want to do. That's when they lost the rights to Gothic, to the Gothic franchise. And they started making their own stuff. And they couldn't make Gothic games anymore. That's when we got this game that we don't talk about, which is Gothic 4. So we don't talk about this because this game is so dogshit that any Gothic fan will neglect its existence. The reason why the game is so bad is because the main character is a different one. It's no longer the blonde guy with his ponytail behind his back, his triangle ponytail, and on top of that he's a whiny bitch. Like, he continuously complains every step of the way. Oh no, he killed my dad. Oh no, he killed my mom. The entire time, right? He's just a whiny bitch. Really annoying, and the game just didn't make any sense. All of a sudden, the hero that we have been playing is a bad guy, and anyway, so we don't acknowledge its existence. But fortunately, Piranha Bytes have been bought back, and they got the rights back to Gothic, as far as I remember. They have stood up for Piranha Bytes against the Embracer Group. Let's see here. So Björn Pankratz already left the studio last year due to differences with the team. The team wanted to make a new Gothic game, but Björn wasn't open to the idea because he had mentally moved on, as Elex was his new baby. So this is dumb because everyone wants a Gothic game. Like, they could make Gothic 5. Like, everyone wants them to make a new Gothic game, and it seems like the entire team is eager to make one, which is the best thing, because you have a team that is experienced with Gothic 1 and 2 and Risen 1 and 2, and they could make such a great game, 100%. Piranha Bytes is on the verge of closure after 25 plus years. The process has probably been running since November 2023. The reason is the drastic cost-cutting course of the Embracer Group. Any game in an early stage of development where it is unclear whether it will be profitable upon release will be cancelled. Wait, what is the Embracer Group? It's a Swedish video game and media holding company based in Karlstad that Embracer Group owns and operates. This is the studio that is making Gothic 1 right now, the remake of Gothic 1. Each group has its own operations, subsidiaries and development studios. The company was established under the Nordic Games licensing in 2011. Okay, they acquired several assets from defunct publishers. Yeah, of Joe, yeah, there we go. See, like, that's it. So essentially, oh my god, okay, that fucking sucks. Any game in an early stage of development where it is unclear whether it will be profitable upon release will be cancelled. Okay, so they think that Elex might not be profitable. That's true, but maybe too many people in the team have horrible ideas for it. Like, do you know Skyrim? Like Kondo? Skyrim has been made by a team, and it has been made by a similar team or almost the same team that made Morrowind and Oblivion. And all of the games feel the same. And why do you play Skyrim? Well, because it feels the same as these games. Now, obviously, Starfield didn't hit the mark because it is outdated, but there's a reason why you play Skyrim, Oblivion, or Morrowind. And that is the same for Gothic. There's a reason why you play Gothic, and if the people that made Gothic made another Gothic, it will feel the same, because everyone has their own expression when they make games. You have your own tendencies, right? You tend to make a game in a particular way, and you can feel it when a different company or studio is making the same game. You will feel the differences. That's just normal, and so I think they should make a new Gothic game, because that's how they started. Would you want it might just become Gothic 4 2.0? It wouldn't, because they have different values. THQ Nordic is not to blame. They have stood up for Piranha Bytes against the Embracer Group. There is currently a grace period from the Embracer Group, which gives the team the opportunity to pitch Elex 3 to other publishers. Game Podcast DE doesn't think there's much chance due to the financial failure of Elex 2. And so the Embracer Group, who are like their big daddy, told them, oh, no, you can't do that. You can't make bad games and get money from us. You have to tell us or show us that you can make your own money. And they told them to go to another publisher and pitch their game to them instead of receiving funding from the Embracer Group. Yeah, and this is apparently where it all fell apart. In case you don't know, the person called Björn Pankratz used to be like the leader, CEO of Piranha Bytes. He actually left last year because he had differences with the team. He wanted to make another Elex because for him he moved on from Gothic, but the team, they really wanted to make another Gothic. And if you ask me, they should make another Gothic because I really like Gothic. It has been with me since I was literally a child, like 10 years old. It has always been with me whenever I was in trouble, basically. Whenever I felt bad or down, I used to play Gothic, you know, trying to create the most powerful character in the universe by picking up all of the plans and doing all of the quests in the right order, because, you know, some of the quests actually give more experience when you do them in later chapters, which you don't know when you just start out with the game, which is just a time kill, but it was great. I really enjoyed it, and I still enjoy it today. Even me and my brothers, we used to talk about it, and we're still talking about it all the time. Elex 2 was a financial failure. That's not many reviews, mixed reviews. Wow, 60%, 75%. I really wanted to like this game. I was looking for Elex for a very long time, and I consider myself a Gothic Risen fan. Although I'm not very knowledgeable in those games, but like them so much to have them on Steam and good old games, and got Risen back in 28 and 29. But I can't. The game is awful. Elex 2 is a complete failure of a game. It came out on 2022. I'm playing it on 2023, and it feels like I'm playing a game older than Risen. Uh-oh. It feels like a 2006 game. Elex is clunky, it's janky, glitchy, buggy, tiresome, and incredibly unpolished. Oh boy, what happened to Piranha Bytes? It's like watching a dog grow old. He'll always be your best friend, but it hurts to see him piss all over. Okay, bro. First of all, don't fall for the trailer. There are reasons why it's cut so quickly when it shows gameplay. I got Elex 2 about a year ago, despite having around 50 hours. Took me a year to finish the game in a nutshell. Ambience, gameplay, story. To describe everything that went wrong with Elex 2 would take another 50 hours, so I don't bother. However, props to the adorable painted pictures you could find throughout the game. Anyway, so yeah, if we take a look at Elex and then compare that to Elex 2, that is a vast difference. 3,000 reviews to 11,000, that's huge. And it seems like maybe it is even the team. Like, what I'm reading from this here is that the team just wants to make a Gothic game and this guy wants to make more Elex games. And the team just doesn't want to do it. Like, they have no... You know how you work for someone and then your ideas for the future are different from what your boss wants, and you just can't align with those ideas, and then maybe the pay is not even good enough for you to get involved enough to give your best. I feel like that's what's happening here. Maybe that is what happened in Elex 2 as well. I think what's gonna happen here, if they close, it's gonna form a new team or studio that is making a Gothic game, but they are not allowed to make or use the name Gothic. Björn might have already made his money and there's no upside for him to continue. Maybe. It could be. You never know though. Let's see here. All staff has already been laid off. What do you mean by all staff? Game Podcasts DE has seen the termination letters. All staff has been laid off. So the entire studio has been laid off? There's no one working right now? Many things are still unclear. For example, the question when Piranha Bytes will be allowed to keep the rights to Elex series, or if the studio can keep the German government fund of 3 million. Wait, they are getting funded? Why am I not getting funded? I wanna get funded too, man. I'm making a game. GameStar now also confirms this. GameStar, the largest PC gaming web portal in the German-speaking internet, published an article on the whole situation and asked THQ Nordic for an official statement. So this game, Elex 3, is known under this name, which is like, you know, I guess a secret name, and is being supported by the German government with a fund of 3.17 million euros. Yeah, so Embracer, this is the important part. The Embracer has the rights to Gothic, and because they're making the remake, and so they can make more Gothic games. So even if the studio fails or falls apart and they build a new one with the ones that want to make Gothic, they can't make a Gothic game because they don't have the rights. And I don't think that the Embracer group is going to give the rights to a newly formed studio out of the remaining people that have been working for Piranha Bytes. Update videos from Björn and Jenny Pankratz on the official YouTube channel. The videos have been published every Monday for several years without interruption. No new videos have been published since November 2017. The official website has shut down. Wow, only a logo is still visible. Oh my god, look at this, guys. It's completely gone. When you went here in the past, you could apply for a job, by the way. Yeah, they're dying. Man, fuck, man. Sad. It was taken offline at the beginning of January. Their new game, codename Wiki 6, rumored to be Elex 3, is no longer listed on the German federal government's funding page and has been removed. Yeah, so for me this is a very sad news, unfortunately. And maybe the outcome of this is that the remaining people of the team that used to work at Piranha Bytes, who are now laid off, we don't know yet for sure, but it seems like they have all been laid off. They will make their own game studio and then put all of their heart and energy into making their own version of Gothic, because they do not have the rights to that. The rights are with THQ Nordic or the Embracer Group. They have the rights, which is why the THQ Nordic, they are making the Gothic Run remake, which I hope is gonna be great. We have seen a couple of trailers and it looks okay, but looks can be deceiving. So I only believe it when I see it and play it. Anyways, yeah, very sad news, but maybe something good comes of it nonetheless. I still remember the times when I actually drove by them to see where they are developing the game. Like, I used to look at their house with my wife, which was very nice. Like, it's very inspiring as a indie developer to see a team that has made such incredible games over the years. So yeah, goodbye Piranha Bytes. You will be missed.